What up, Street Talks? This is Eric Kim. Alright, the thought. This one is about conspiracies. So, this is actually the funny bias. I think a lot of people really want the conspiracy theories to be true, right? Because this is my theory on why, or like the philosophy on conspiracies. So, okay, the best example of conspiracies actually being true is probably the conspiracy of Catiline, the Roman senator who tried to overthrow Cicero. And I think Sallust writes about it, Sallust. And so the thing that's actually interesting about conspiracy theories, some are true and actually some aren't. And what does conspire mean? Con means with, spire means to breathe, like the same word is inspire. Inspiration is actually breathing new life and whatever into you. And so why do people so desperately want the conspiracy theories to be true? So this is my theory. So the reason why we want the conspiracy theories to be true is that we want somebody else or something to scapegoat to feel better about ourselves in terms of our suffering, injustice, and stuff like that. So my thought is, I don't know, maybe just assume that the conspiracy theories are true and then just be like Andy Warhol, like, so what? And this is a hard thing to disentangle, right? Some conspiracies are true, some aren't. But the only way to ultimately know what's going to be true or not is just like let Mother Nature and time do the dirty work. So that's why I don't trust any modern news, because it hasn't been tested too. So for example, right now currently what we're living through is the whole George Floyd thing, right? So when you first watch the initial George Floyd video and then you watch the New York Times video of the step by step, it paints a certain narrative, but then I think that narrative is actually a fallacy. And then it's like obvious, like, racist cop chokes out, innocent African American guy, cops are racist and whatever, right? But now the problem is new footage, kind of more recently, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, shows the body cam footage, the GoPro on the cop's chest, painting like adding more nuance to the story. So for example, I think George Floyd was saying I can't breathe even before Derek Chauvin put his knee on George Floyd's neck. So once again, like, I don't know the ultimate truth on what really happened or not, and then it's impossible to know anybody's motives because everyone's motives are hidden even to themselves. So for example, even I think about myself, Eric Kim's like, oh, Eric, what's your motivation for doing X, Y, and Z? I could say what I think my motive is, but I might be wrong. I might be misreading my own like for example, sometimes I'm in a shitty mood, right? And I think, oh, I'm in a shitty mood because people said X, Y, and Z to me. But in fact, I might just be sleep deprived, or I didn't have my morning cup of coffee yet, right? And so that's why I'm even distrustful of myself, my own emotions and my own feelings and stuff like that, because I cannot say with 100% certainty why I feel a certain way. Now, this is tricky because, in terms of like ultimate truths and stuff like that, I could best judge my own emotions, my own feelings, and my own personal motives, but impossible for me to judge other people's motives and stuff like that. And so in terms of the saying, know yourself or know thyself, temet noske, right? The closest thing we could do towards is self-knowledge, but even self-knowledge is not 100% accurate. So, kind of to Nassim Taleb's point, I think most people are way too stupid to even be able to have the smartness to pull off a conspiracy theory. Honestly, like, my thought on modern society is, there's a bunch of people bumbling around trying to get more money, power, influence, whatever. But in fact, ain't nobody know what's going on. And To me, this is actually quite reassuring. Some people might find this very angst-ridden, but this is good. Like, if nobody knows what's going on, then what that means is there is no governmental conspiracy for people to go out and get it, right? And, fact is, shout out to Edward Snowden for leaking all the documents and stuff like that. So the fact is, of course, governments spy on the citizens and X, Y, and Z. But the thing is, like, the government isn't as competent as we think they are, which is hilarious. So, like, Uncle Sam ain't out there to, like, get you, right? It's just like, the government, like, okay, just imagine, like, even the higher government, like even the CI, they're kind of almost like the DMV. If you've ever been to a DMV, you know how disorganized and how chaotic it is. And so maybe the best way to think about the government is just kind of like the DMV, but with more money and power, I suppose. And so what that means is, when it comes to your own modern life, you don't got to worry, you don't got to trip about, the government being out there to get you and stuff like that. And also just kind of thinking to yourself, at the end of the day, you have so much more personal freedom in terms of what to do and what not to do in your life. And this is just my general heuristic with the internet and stuff like that. First of all, the internet never forgets. Go to the Wayback Machine or archive.org. Shout out to Brewster Kale. And don't say anything on the internet, or even don't do nothing in private that you wouldn't feel comfortable being leaked publicly, right? So, if you ever watch an episode of Black Mirror, maybe that could be a good warning sign. So, you open up the Google Incognito tab and whatever, porn you're looking at, whether you're on Pornhub or Reddit NSFW or whatever, don't look at nothing that you wouldn't feel comfortable other people revealing publicly what you watch, right? Because, if you really do have something to hide, it's so easy for people to figure out, what kind of porn you watch in private or stuff like that. So, my nuanced understanding of privacy on the internet and stuff like that is, there is no privacy on the internet. Even if you try everything, you'll never have 100% privacy. I mean, you could have higher degrees of privacy, but my heuristic is, don't do nothing on the internet or your computer or whatever, or just in real life that you wouldn't be comfortable having the total public doing it. Seems like a wise thing. But in spite of all this, even if all the conspiracy theories are true, not really that big of a deal. You have yourself, you have your mind, you have your own personal wisdom, you got your own guts, you got your courage, you got your huevos, you got your balls, you got your own personal courage. I've been reading a lot of Juvenal recently, the satires of Juvenal, really good. And he says, next time you go to the temple, don't pray for wealth and X, Y, and Z, but pray that you may have more courage, more determination, less petty envy, and more brazenness to pursue that which you're really passionate about in life.